Fear is a really interesting thing, especially when it comes to games. At its core, it's created from a lack of understanding of a situation or something that could be potentially dangerous. Its close ties with the human psyche and the horror genre give games a chance to play on something very, very primal within us. Horror can take many forms, and what personifies it best can vary greatly from person to person. There are some things that are feared by many people, like heights or spiders, but there are other things, more subtle or specific things, that only get a real reaction out of a significantly lower amount of people. Misfit Addict's Duskers is a game that creates a very unique sense of horror and fear for the player. It may not be intended to be a horror game, but it ends up playing on the most basic of elements required for people to have a fearful or uneasy reaction. This isn't to say that the game is completely terrifying, not by any means. I only mean to say that while playing Duskers, you may find yourself more immersed than you first expected to be, and that by the nature of the game's presentation and mechanics, you'll likely end up feeling a great sense of unease, maybe even fear. And that is f***ing awesome. In Duskers, you remotely pilot up to 4 drones through a bunch of abandoned ships scattered around space as you journey to who knows where. With the only real goal being to stay alive, you use your drones to search abandoned ships for fuel, parts, and even other drones to add to your slowly growing squadron. Controlling drones is done in 2 ways, and you'll be constantly using both methods. First, there's a mode where you directly control the drone's movements and see what it can see through a grainy top-down view. Because of how the drones work, there's almost always a blind spot of data that simply can't be stored by the relatively simple robots. Second, there's a console type of view that provides you with a very simple map of the ship you're on, with markers for your drones and anything they can interact with that's been discovered. In both modes, you use the command console to issue orders to your robots. At first, this will take some getting used to, but the commands are pretty intuitive. As an example, to tell a drone to move to a certain room, you'd simply type navigate, then the drone's number, then the room number. You have to open and close doors manually, and in order to activate a particular function on a drone, you simply type in the function's name, i.e. turret or motion. And that's really it for controls. There are other commands, but you need upgrades for your drones in order to use them, and it's fairly simple to tell what's what as you get them. When you're exploring a ship, there's the potential to find hostile organic life, and that's what starts to dip Duskers into the subtle horror realm. Using the motion tracker module will allow you to check nearby rooms for any organic life. Green lines means there's no motion in the room, yellow means there's motion but it's not hostile, and red means that there's something in the room that wants to tear your little robots to bits. The motion tracker can't function while the drone that has the module is moving, so you're usually down 1 drone. The tracker also won't always hit every room on the ship, so you may need to relocate your drone sometimes. When you discover hostile life, the game becomes about funneling them into rooms that you've already explored by leaving a door open and closing it after they've moved. There's always a sense of unease because of the potential for something vile to be around the very next corner, and the sound design and simple visuals do a brilliant job of contributing to this kind of atmosphere. There are some cool mechanics in addition to the above that you'll discover as you go on. There are a few different kinds of hazards, like radiation or vents that hostile organisms can move through. There are some ships with multiple points to dock from or generators to activate, so there's a bit of decision making when it comes to placing your ship and moving or using your drones. Between ship raids, you'll have the opportunity to upgrade and repair your drones, their modules, and your ship. You can also rename drones and move modules between them. Each time you dock onto a ship, you'll uncover a communication log that's left over, hinting at whatever kind of life or mission that particular ship had. It's a small touch that doesn't add a whole lot to the gameplay, but it adds a huge amount to the game's atmosphere. And apart from the kick-ass gameplay, atmosphere is really where this game shines. It has this innate ability to suck me in, to get me involved. There's something about using my actual keyboard commands to command these drones. There's a weird connection that Duskers achieves with the player through the actions translating in such a precise one-to-one way. It's hard to explain properly. I don't know if there's a real word for this phenomenon, but in other games there's a bit of a disconnect between the player's inputs and the game's actions. The disconnect simply doesn't exist in Duskers. What I type onto my keyboard is exactly what the character controlling the drones types on theirs, making it easier to connect with them and get involved in their story and their world. It's through that connection, that thin line that makes the player and character one, that Duskers is not only able to get the player immersed, but also able to make the universe more palpable. It's because of this that Duskers makes itself one of the more interesting and clever games I've played, and it only serves to boost the tense atmosphere and unease that drips from the game's code. Duskers finishes its early access campaign and actually launches its full version on Steam on May 18th, a couple days from now, for $20. It's hard to say what genre this game is most like, but I'm fairly confident that many of you will enjoy it, even if horror games aren't your shtick. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Indie Bytes. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please remember to leave a like and subscribe for more. If you have any indie games that I should check out, then please shoot them my way. You can leave a comment down below, or you can drop me a line on Twitter. My handle's @forkh, or you can shoot me an email at fork4h@gmail.com. I'll see you next time. Bye!